Every day, numerous people go missing. If a family is lucky, their wayward loved one may make it back home to their loving embrace. Sadly, many cases of missing people conclude with their remains being found with little to no information about what led to their demise. We are about to learn one such case. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Welcome to another installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. In this installment, we'll be hearing about the case of Michael Rosenblum. This case first aired on the January 11th, 1989 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. If you look below the surface of this case, you will learn that not all is as it seems. Where does the truth lie? That is ultimately for you to decide. Okay, time for the case information. The person in question's name is Michael L. Rosenblum. Michael had no known aliases. Michael was born on April the 12th, 1954. As of the televised airing of this episode of Unsolved Mysteries, he was 34 years old. As of the recording of this installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries, Michael would have been 70 years old. The location was Baldwin, Pennsylvania. The case classification is missing persons. Michael has been missing since February 13th, 1980. When Michael went missing, he was 25 years old. It is believed that Michael suffered a tragic outcome, and at that time he was 25 years old. However, the exact date of death is unknown. If you're looking for this on YouTube, you can find it on Season 1, Episode 13 of Unsolved Mysteries. The original televised air date for this episode was January 11th, 1989. Regarding the case status, this case remains unresolved. It is believed that Michael is a possible victim of homicidal violence. When I return after these commercials, I will be reading to everybody the case of Michael Rosenblum for the Unsolved Mysteries Wiki.
Ooh, something for Santa.
Look what I brought you, Santa. Holiday chocolate.
Oh, they're red and green.
Mom brought them home for the family. But I saved the best for you.
Holidays chocolates. Delicious milk chocolate in red and green shells.
Now about my list.
There's nothing like holidays for your holidays from the makers of M&M's chocolate candies.
More?
Okay, so let's look up this case. Let's see here. Michael Rosenblum. Okay. Let's see here. So we'll start off with the generic information, or not generic, but the information that they gave us. So real name is Michael L. Rosenblum, as I already said before. No nicknames, Baldwin, Pennsylvania, February 14th, 1980. It is unrevealed what Michael's occupation was. He was born April 12th, 1954. He was 5'10", 135 pounds. He was dating, and he was a Caucasian male. Okay, so if you are new to this series that I do, this is where I go to the Unsolved Mysteries Wiki that you can see here, and I will, hold on, and I will, see here, let's just do it like this. I will, read the case to you. I may take some breaks depending on how long this case is so I can get something to drink, to moisten my, mouth and everything. Okay, so let's see here. So the case, details. 25-year-old Michael Rosenblum began experimenting with drugs while in high school. He became a heavy user of a prescription painkiller, that altered his moods and made him erratic and irritable. Despite his drug problems, he retained the strong support and love of his family. However, during the early 80s, the form of discipline known as tough love became widely used. I encourage tough love. Sometimes people, if they're just simply given the choice, well, you got to get better, you got to get better, you got to promise you'll get better. Sometimes that does not work with everybody. Sometimes a firmer fist is needed. It may not feel good, but ultimately, in the long run, if you really want your loved one to do better, sometimes you gotta be a little bit tougher with them. After several attempts to get help, his parents, Maurice and Barbara, finally banished him from the family home in Baldwin, Pennsylvania. On February 13th, 1980, Barbara did this after she found a bottle of painkillers in his room. He left that night in a car driven by his girlfriend, Lisa. Barbara told him not to come back until he was off drugs. I agree with what Barbara did. She had, it sounds like they gave him enough chances. Exactly how many chances should a person get before you have to crack down on them? I've heard people say, "Oh, you got to give them as many as need be." You can still love your family member and practice tough love. That if they are grabbed, or if they are in the thralls of addiction, they don't care what other people say as long as they can get that next fix. If they think they can get that next fix by telling you, "Oh, I'll change. I promise I will change," odds are that they're just giving you mouth or lip service, basically. The next day, Michael woke up with a severe drug hangover, and Lisa took him to the hospital. However, he refused to be treated. Sorry about that, guys. I'll be right back. Let me well, actually, I can do that right here. Sorry about that. I didn't realize. Let's see here. There you go. They left the hospital and went to a nearby gas station in West Homestead. According to Lisa, he became increasingly agitated. Well, you know why he became increasingly agitated? Odds are he was probably starting to crash from not having a recent dosage of his drugs. It isn't that hard to figure it out. He then told her that he needed to borrow her car and left her stranded at the station. Oh, loving boyfriend he is, huh? He also told her to go to Maurice and Barbara's home and that he'd meet her there in 2 hours. Michael did not arrive there and was never seen by his family or friends again. Well, depending on how far the gas station was from Maurice and Barbara's home, Lisa may have had a long commute back to the house, Maurice and Barbara waited all night for a phone call from Michael. However, it never came. Barbara did not believe he would vanish voluntarily because he left behind money in his bank accounts and clothes in his closet. Well, she literally banished him from the house, as they said earlier. He may not really have felt that welcome back at the house. Sometimes I read these cases and it's like to me it feels like it's a logic hole that is here. Well, there's no clothing in his closet. You banished him from the house. You banished him. You literally told him to get out. I don't know what people in 1980s thought banished means, but when you say banished, I imagine get the fuck out. You're not welcome here until you clean the fuck up. That's how I imagine banished, I don't know what they imagine banished be, but if you literally told your kid to get the fuck out until he's cleaned up, you shouldn't be that shocked there's still clothing in his closet, Okay. His family filed a missing persons report the next day. The police soon began searching for Lisa's missing car as they felt it would lead them to him. 2 weeks later, it had still not been found. So Maurice decided to start his own investigation into Michael's disappearance. He offered a reward for the information, posted flyers, and traveled as far as California to talk with friends of Michael's. He hoped to find him and get him off drugs for good. Sadly, that never happened. Okay, let's see here. 3 months later, on May 21st, the Baldwin Borough Police Department notified Lisa that her car had been impounded. According to official records, it had been in a lot since the day Michael vanished. How the fuck was this not reported? You would think that there would be some sort of goddamn entry and exit log for everything that goes in and out of these impound lots. How the fuck is it that that somebody that went missing and they said that this car was used? How the fuck is it that police never thought, you know what, let's take a look at the impound's entry and exit logs to see if maybe this car was actually there? Maurice could not understand how the police department had it in its possession for 3 months and did not realize it. Good fucking question, Maurice. I wonder the same thing also. A Baldwin police dispatcher was contacted by the Pittsburgh police when they searched for it, but no one could say whether the information was officially circulated. Maurice learned that the car had been found on River Road, which connected Baldwin to the south side of Pittsburgh. It was located by Baldwin police officers just 2 hours after Michael was last seen. 2 of the tires were flat, the keys were gone, and the engine was cooled. However, there was no trace of Michael. 15 minutes later, the car was towed to the Baldwin Borough Car Pound, where it remained for 3 months. You're telling me, let me mark this. You're telling me that when that car was brought in, damaged flat tires, keys missing, you're telling me that no one in that fucking police impound put it on the goddamn log? Oh god, whatever the date was, something 1980. Blue car, I think it was blue if I remember correctly, blue car, license plate number such, please contact. You're telling me no one did that? What kind of fucking idiots were working in the Baldwin Police Department at the time? Okay. Pittsburgh investigators believe that the delay seriously jeopardized their investigation. Yeah, no shit. The Pittsburgh Police Department went to Baldwin to determine why there was a delay. Good fucking question. Why was there a delay? Why were you fucking idiots not keeping your logs updated? Baldwin Police Department claimed that they mailed Lisa a letter about the car a day after Michael vanished. Do you have proof? However, she claimed that she never received it. I actually believe her in this case. When they produced a copy of it, she still claimed never ever received it. At this point, considering what there has been so far, I would not be shocked if that copy was forced, like a forced fake, you know. Maurice believed that it was just one part of an elaborate cover-up by the Baldwin police regarding Michael's disappearance. Maurice claimed... Here, let me move this up a little bit. Maurice claimed that following Michael's disappearance, he received 2 anonymous phone calls. The first caller, who called before the car was rediscovered, claimed that Michael had been arrested by the Baldwin police. If this is true, let's check the records. You're telling me that the Baldwin is the Baldwin Police Department the only police department out of the entire United States that doesn't keep any motherfucking records? I want to see fucking records. Maurice hung up, assuming that it was a prank. However, when the second caller, who called after the car was found, also said that Michael had been arrested by the Baldwin police, he became suspicious. For 6 months, he searched for Michael. However, his offer of a big reward received no solid leads. The only concrete clues were the discovery of the car and the 2 mysterious phone calls. On January 15th, another bizarre twist in this case occurred when the Baldwin Police Department put out an arrest warrant for Michael, even though he was listed as a missing person. The guy's listed as a missing person. You putting out a goddamn arrest warrant. Something is not clicking here with me, ladies and gentlemen. Something is not. The pieces are not coming together properly. The arrest warrant was for an armed robbery that occurred in April, 2 months after he vanished. Wait. So they're saying that they knew that he vanished, that he was a missing person, and then they're saying in April, 2 months after he vanished, he robbed a place. Armed robbery. Why was his family not contacted? That apparently he was located if he was committing an armed robbery. No, this is not flying with me, ladies and gentlemen. This is not fucking flying with me. Let's see here. Pittsburgh investigator Stephen Turksack interviewed the victims of the robbery, and they gave him a description of the robber that did not match that of the composite issued by the police. In fact, the witnesses had only seen the forehead and chin of the robber, who was wearing sunglasses. However, the composite showed the entire face without sunglasses. Could it be that the police have fucked up? That's the one thing I've noticed about when it comes to some of the police departments that were covered in Unsolved Mysteries during these earlier seasons. A lot of these police departments were fucking corrupt as hell. I support the police officers in this country. However, I will call out the bad motherfuckers, and it sounds like we have some bad motherfuckers up in here. Turksack believes that the police used the original photo of Michael from his missing persons flyer to make the composite. A week later, the warrant was dismissed based on the information uncovered about the car. Oh my God! The guy's missing. The car's been found numerous months later. Could it be that they fucking lied? Who would have fucking thought? Along with the phone calls, Maurice believes that the Baldwin police were involved in a cover-up regarding Michael's disappearance. He took his suspicions to the Attorney General, who investigated but cleared the Baldwin police of any wrongdoing. In May 1986, Maurice received an anonymous letter that told him to speak with Gene Hazlitt, who had worked as a dispatcher for the Baldwin police. It led to accusations that the Baldwin police, led by Chief Aldo Gaburi, mishandled this case. You think? Gene said that 2 months after Michael disappeared, Gaburi had ordered his clerk, Fred Capelli, to type up the letter that Lisa was supposed to have received 2 months earlier. Oh my God, you're telling me that they faked a letter? Who would have fucking thought that? Let's see here. He also ordered to backdate it to February 15th. See, that's what I was saying, that it was a fake, it was like a forgery letter, whatever you want to call it. The time that she should have received it, or the time that she should have received it. Fred corroborated Gene's story, saying that he typed the letter on May 20th. After typing it, Gaburi told him to sign the paper with the signature of Chester Lombardi, the senior officer who found the car. He also told him to put the letter away without sending it. According to Fred, Gaburi asked Lombardi to sign it, but he refused because it was backdated. Unfortunately, he passed away in 1982, so he could not be questioned about the allegations. You know what I'm starting to think, ladies and gentlemen? I'm starting to think that possibly some members of this police department at Baldwin Borough, they could have been possibly like in the drug business. You have a guy who had an addiction to pain medications. You have police officers who apparently could not realize that they had the fucking car for numerous months in their impound. And all of a sudden you have a person who's claiming that the higher up for the Baldwin police backdated a letter and everything. This is not normal, ladies and gentlemen. Something is not adding up. After hearing this information, Maurice wrote a letter to the Baldwin Borough Council, stating that they should investigate what he believed to be a cover-up. In October 1987, a hearing was held by the council, and Gaburi was dismissed as a result. Well, they must have found something. They dismissed the motherfucker. Gaburi appealed the dismissal. He was later reinstated by the council. I shouldn't really be shocked when I read this to you guys because I watched this case. It's just the fact that you're fired. Oh, okay, you're hired again. You know. Capelli claimed that Gaburi, how do you pronounce his fucking last name, had friends in the council. It seriously sounds like it, which led him to being reinstated. The council denies this. Oh, of course they would. You think that they're going to be honest and say, oh yeah, we're friends with that guy. Here's some money. You think they're going to actually admit to this? Fuck no. Fuck no. Although Maurice believes that Michael is deceased, he still does not have definitive answers as to what happened to him. However, in April 1988, at the direction of a psychic, when it comes to like psychics and everything, I'm kind of, it's kind of hit and miss, you know. With the direction of a psychic, 30 volunteers searched the hillside in Baldwin for Michael's remains. The search turned up a small piece of bone, some patches of corduroy, and a piece of shoe sole. They were consistent with the clothing that Michael was wearing when he vanished. They were discovered above River Road, overlooking the spot where the car was found. No other trace of Michael has been found. Suspects. Michael's family believes that the Baldwin Borough Police were involved in a cover-up regarding his disappearance. Aldo Gaburi, Warren Cooley, the officer who created the arrest warrant for Michael, and Donald Meisensick, along with other police officers, are suspected of a cover-up in this case. I wouldn't be shocked if drugs were somehow involved in all of this. Extra notes. This case first aired on the... I gotta fix this when I get a chance. This case first aired on the January 11th, 1989 episode. It was also profiled on the Trail Went Cold podcast. Results. Unresolved. After the broadcast, a viewer called the telecenter. He claimed that he had been in jail with Michael on the day of his disappearance. He also claimed that Michael appeared to have been beaten and shot in the leg. Why was he not taken to the hospital? You're telling me, what, is the hospital in Borough County, Pennsylvania, do they also not keep records? Why do you have a prisoner in your jail with a gunshot to the leg? No, seriously, this is something I would be like I'd literally go up there and be like to the fucking chief of police. Do you know one of your guys has a gunshot in his leg and he's probably bleeding out all over your floor? Why the fuck is he not in the hospital? It is not known if the caller was ever located or if the information was ever verified. In January 1990, Michael's family had him declared legally dead. In 1992, 3 miles from where the car was discovered, a skull fragment was found. In June, a coroner determined that it belonged to Michael based on x-rays of his head. Police are now investigating this case as a possible homicide, although the cause of death could not be determined. After a series of investigations into Cooley and Miesenchik, however you pronounce it, not that person, we'll just refer to this person as that person, by the Pennsylvania Attorney General Bureau of Criminal Investigations, no charges were ever filed. Oh, who would have fucking thought? Yeah, I hear that you're investigating me. I hear that you're investigating me. What if I put down this briefcase and I open it up and it has some money in it? I'm going to stand up and I'm going to go use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Can you give me a thumbs up? You know what I'm trying to say here, right? You have to know what I'm saying here. The officers later filed a libel lawsuit against a magazine which printed an article about Michael's disappearance. They claimed that the article unfairly accused him of being involved in the disappearance. The suit was settled in March 1990, and the officers receiving $50,000. Sadly, Maurice died in 2008, and Barbara died in 2018. Gaburi passed away in 1997 at the age of 76. If it walks like a duck, looks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. I'm sorry, I can't look past the fact that they had this vehicle in their lot. You're telling me that nobody from the tow company to the entry clerk at the impound lot, whatever you want to call it, you're telling me nobody from the time that car was picked up to the time it was dropped off, nobody filed any fucking paperwork? You're telling me that for 3 months, that for 3 months roughly, people went into that car lot, saw this car that was just sitting there, and they never thought, hey, what do we have on this car? What information do we have on this car? We'd like to do a follow-up. Nobody did that. I'm thinking that it was a drug deal gone bad. That it was a drug deal gone bad. What it probably was that some officers apprehended Michael after the car was damaged. He probably had a debt with some of these officers. They possibly shot him in the leg because he was trying to flee. They shot him in the leg. They brought him to the police station because they couldn't just take him to the goddamn hospital. If they took him to the hospital, they would have to be questioned. So they probably took him to like a solitary confinement cell or something in the police station until they could figure out what they're going to do. They then, in the middle of the night, they could have taken him out of the police station, taken him up to that location where the bone fragment was found, and executed him. That's my theory, at least. That's my theory. It's just, I find it so fucking coincidental that who was it, Gaburi? I think it was Gaburi. That was, hold on, let's do this. Yeah, he was dismissed by this council. The council, apparently they had enough information to dismiss him as a result. He appealed the dismissal and then he was later reinstated. Well, if nothing was found that was against him, he would have never been dismissed. Something is not fucking adding up here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now, if you are new to this series that I like to produce, this is where I go to the Find a Grave website, and I will look up the case and see if there's been, like, what there is, you know, like. Okay, so, date of birth, April 15th, 1954, in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, USA. Date of death is listed as February 14th, 1980. Age, he was 25. Location is Baldwin, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, USA. He was buried at Beth Shalom Cemetery. Location is Schalair Township, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, USA. Section B, Plot 6. Okay, we have his parents, Maurice F. Sonny Rosenblum, 1930 to 2008, and his mom, Barbara Elaine Schwartz Rosenblum, 1930 to 2018. Okay, let's take a look at the pictures. Here's a picture of Michael. I'm guessing this could have been like a school photo or possibly at home. And then here's the tombstone where like a marker. Michael Rosenblum, April 12th, 1954 to February 14th, 1980. Beloved son and brother. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the sad case of Michael Rosenblum. See here, hold on, let me. There we go. That is a sad outcome to Michael Rosenblum. What happened to Michael? Could it be that Michael just suffered a weird accident and never was really seen from again? Or could it be that he ran amongst foul play that could have been tied to his addiction to drug killing or drug medication? Yeah. Ultimately, this is up for you to make the decision, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot do that for you. Ultimately, it is up to you to make that final call. I am only here to read to you the case, and you have to make your own decision. When I return, it will be with my final thoughts, so stay tuned and I'll be right back.
What can we leave for Santa?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's great!
We sprinkle cinnamon and sugar for a homemade taste.
Part of his complete breakfast.
Happy holidays from Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay, everybody, time for my final thoughts, and let's look at what we do know. In 1980, Michael Rosenblum, he was basically evicted or exiled from the family house, I guess you could say. Michael had a severe dependence to pain medication. When he left the family house, he went to the gas station with his girlfriend. They took the girlfriend's vehicle, it sounds like. Michael told the girlfriend to get out of the car, that to go back home, and he would return back to the family house, in a couple hours. Michael never came home. And it's from that point forward where everything is kind of in a fog. And ultimately, this is where you have to make the decision. Did Michael just have a tragic accident that took his life? Or was there a darker ending to Michael's life that could have been been due to his addiction to pain medication? Ultimately, I can't do anything. I'm just the guy who reads you the case. Ultimately, you're the one who has to make the decision. I think that he ran across some corrupt police officials. But that's just my theory. What we do know is that it looks like Michael is dead, but we don't know how it happened. And it's because of that this case has not been solved, and ultimately I want to see this case get solved. It deserves to be solved. There should never be an unsolved case. And that's why I kind of like to do these cases myself, or do these cases that way that it keeps the memory of these cases alive, basically. But sometimes these cases just will never be solved. And with almost all the major players now deceased, it seems like that the secret of what happened to Michael Rosenblum will go on forever, basically. Next installment, ladies and gentlemen, it is case number 3 for this episode of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. I will be covering the case of Arthur Frankfurt. Arthur Frankfurt is a piece of shit who likes to, he was known as, I think he was referred to as the sweetheart swindler. I may be wrong about that. But basically what it is he likes to, he will hook up with the elderly ladies, basically. And after he feels that he has received enough of their trust, he basically then robs them blind. But that is what will be, on the next installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has taken the time today to watch this case. It means a lot to me. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. If you like what you watch, feel free to click that subscribe button, and you'll be alerted when I release further installments of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse, wishing you all a great day, and stay safe, everybody. Peace out.
Christmas. Sometimes we all need help getting ready. That's where Bank of America comes in. When you open any checking or savings account, B of A will make a donation to Toys for Tots. You get more branches, more versatile ATMs, more convenience, and needy children get Christmas toys. So take it from an expert. It's nice to give. It's nice to receive. It's even nicer to do both.